good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my lovely fellow listeners. Yes, the end is over. The beautiful lady that you are seeing is none other than Curly Pepin. A very warm welcome to you, Curly. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Thank you, Curly. Well, of course, the world knows you, but still, let me give a small introduction about yourself. Here is a small introduction of the Curly. Curly is one of the famous. I lost your introduction. Please give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Curly Papin is a globally recognized business strategist and a human behavior specialist who empowers founders and executives to grow smarter, lead stronger, and build businesses that truly last. With a rare blend of behavioral science and strategic acumen, Curly helps leaders decode their inner narratives and redesign their professional trajectories with purpose. Yes, you must be wondering what is this professional trajectories. I'm sure she will be telling us. Let me give you a little more about her. Her mission is to help individuals move beyond obligation and into fulfillment, transforming perceived flaws into fuel for growth. Today, she joins us to share the mindset shifts, systems, and stories that have helped countless leaders unlock their potential. So please tighten your belt, get ready for a session that's a equal parts strategy, soul, and inspiration by none other than our lovely guest, Sally Pepin. Once again, thank you and very warm welcome to you, Sally.
Yeah,
Before
thank
I
you.
start any question, please tell me if
Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed that. I missed that one part. What did you say?
before I start asking questions, please tell me that you would like to tell if I missed something in your introduction.
No, that was perfect. Yeah, that was actually perfect. Yeah. So, business strategy, leadership coaching, and yes, it's a
Great,
great spot
great,
to be.
great, great. And Sally, you have come across many leaders. All of them must be having some or other misconceptions. Would you like to tell a one biggest myth about leadership that you have encountered? Platform is
Yes.
yours. Sally, please. Curly, please.
Absolutely. So, one of the big myths that we have about leadership is that you have to become a certain person
Ooh.
before you start leading. And the truth is that you become that person along the way. So we're never going to be able to be fully prepared, fully ready for various levels of leadership. But once we start to step into those roles, we
Mhm.
get the challenges that allow us to become the leader that we would love to be, as opposed to trying to be that leader before we step up into that role. So there's always like some preparation that you can do. But if you keep waiting or keep trying to prepare, over and over again, as opposed to just stepping into that role and learning also along the way, you really miss out on a lot of time. So it is a big myth is that you have to be a certain way, act a certain way. And even leaders, when we look out there, they're all different. Every leader is different. Every leader leads differently. So it's also finding your own unique voice and form of leadership as you move forward. There's some really solid normal things that leaders do that we can dive into, but it still is going to come across in your own unique way.
Oh, great. Yes, as you see that the leader should not wait, just they should move on. Very correct. Yes, one should. And for that, how do personal narratives that shape the professional outcomes? Because you are the one who tells something that internal beliefs influence the external result. So that is why, may I ask you that, how do personal narratives shape professional outcomes? Sadly, please.
Yeah. So it can shift it in a couple ways in a sense that it can do it in a way that supports us, but it also can do it in a way that challenges us, right?
Mhm.
So I know we talk a lot about mindset and how, if we have a personal narrative perhaps around business is hard, or I'm not going to be able to build this business, or I can only scale it to a certain degree, that personal narrative is going to block you from seeing the opportunities, the solutions, because we just keep thinking that's the only way. Like it's just not possible, right? But there's also the dynamic where a personal narrative can also support you. And in the sense of, I get to see a lot of business owners who have personal narratives around their childhood pains and the things that they've gone through. One particular one, for instance, got to go through a big family shift and a big family dynamic where they lost their home, they lost all their money because the father was an entrepreneur. But that
Oh,
personal, and it didn't work out. That personal narrative, though, that entrepreneurship is hard and challenging, actually pushed him to start building within a business that created an entrepreneurship opportunity, because it's like a sales business in the construction industry, without actually putting these people at risk. And so that painful narrative made
mm,
this company what it is today, which is a really inspiring place for people to go act as entrepreneurs. They can make a significant quantity of income, and also have a great life and not worry about the loss that an entrepreneur has. So we have the personal narratives that can shift our mindset, that challenge us and can block us from getting ideas, insights, bringing us fears, stopping us in our track, not being able to move forward or see the clarity on how to get to the other side. But there's also the ones that support us. The biggest
mm.
challenges we go through, so many business owners build their businesses around trying to solve those problems for now many people.
Wow, you really told something about the real challenges the entrepreneurs they face. With that, I am really interested to know something more. That can you please share one real life example of someone that who broke through personal limitations and again reshaped their businesses in life, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So for example, there was an individual who perceived they were not worthy of having a team, having leadership opportunities because of something that they had done in their childhood. And they just felt so much guilt and so much shame that they kept hitting a ceiling. And so what we did is we worked through the guilt, we worked through the shame, and once we did, it actually gave them permission to break beyond the ceiling and realize I do not have to punish myself anymore. I do not have to hold myself back. I'm actually not only allowed to have this amount of wealth in different forms, but also I want to pursue this further and further and create a greater impact. So, those kind of dynamics, there's things that we've done in our past or maybe not
Mhm.
done, that we feel really guilty for, and we have a lot of shame and we hold
Right.
ourselves back from moving forward. So that was a really big dynamic of someone who shifted. There's another really cool story as well
Please.
of, we talk about guilt and shame, but we don't often talk about pride, right? And so there was an individual that I was working with, an executive, and it wasn't guilt and shame I needed to tackle. It was their pride. They were too proud. And because of that, they were coming off as self righteous and going within the company and starting arguments, being a know it all, pretending that, like, and acting like they knew everything. They were the smartest person in the room when in essence they really weren't. And so when we worked on his pride and
Mhm.
humbled him, to realize that that's not only the attitude he had to take, but he's not the smartest person in the room, and that's okay. He really started excelling in his career and was able to work with his team more effectively, efficiently. He was on the verge of losing his job, so he didn't lose his job. He really does like it there, which is awesome. But those are examples where not just our guilt and shame can impact us, but also our pride.
Yes, you gave interesting examples. I fully agree with you. But still, Curly, I think that business means nothing but one plus one equal to two. But you are the person who keep mathematics and accounts aside, and literally you drive the entrepreneurs with the power of the psychology and the knowledge you have about the psychology. So, can you please tell us how do you integrate human behavior principles into business strategy? How it works?
It's really for me it's quite simple, so I can
Mhm.
explain it very simply. Is
Hmm.
when we talk to and I look at a founder, an executive, CEO, anyone who's having a hard time with
Hmm.
that business strategy. The reality is there are great tools to put into place. There's great processes. There's all of these different things that we can utilize, which are amazing. However, the individual who is going to put them into place, if they don't have clarity on how to do it, and not just step by step, but it's like, well, what specifically I'm going to do with this, how specifically I'm going to do that,
Hmm.
then it's helping them get the clarity. Because the reality is the owner of the business knows the most about the business.
Right.
I don't know as much about your product, your service, your clients, your employees as so for me, it's to go in and ensure that I'm asking them questions to help them understand what's going on. And sometimes there's things that are frustrating, confusing to help them move forward. A really cool example was I had one individual and they had some theft in the company. And so strategically with the theft, we went in and we figured out what was going on, what were the bottlenecks that prevented him from knowing that people were stealing money from the
Hmm.
company, what was actually going on. And those were the things that we could fix strategically. But also, as we went through, because he was very upset about it for obvious reasons, it was a significant quantity of income. When we went through it, we got to see how it actually served him. So we
Hmm.
asked the questions of not just what to do and how to prevent it in the future, but what did this challenge teach you? And when we started to uncover what he had learned from the challenge, he got to be grateful for the individual who actually had the theft. He was no longer angry because he had seen so many things, so many benefits that came from the situation. And when we looked at the benefits, what we did uncover was that he wasn't actually ready to transition out of this business, but he really wanted to transition it into a different type of business.
Oh.
And because this person had done the theft, it had lit the fire under
Hmm.
him to actually get that going and actually get that moving. So, because that happened, he now has the business in the form he wants today. It's growing and scaling, and then he's excited because he's going to sell it in the future as well. He's prepping it to sell. So if he didn't have that theft, he never would have stepped into that role. He had been dilly-daddling. So we work on the internal part, but we also use the human behavior dynamic to understand why it happened, because it
Wow.
happened because he was holding back on moving forward. And now he just, after we uncovered that, it's like, okay, well, what is preventing you from moving forward?
Hmm.
Anything. And any of those bottlenecks we worked on immediately so he could just take action and get to the stage that he really wanted to get to, that he'd been holding off on.
Great. And if I understood you correctly, perhaps you are the one who has got expertise in asking the question. Not only asking the question, but asking the right question. That is perhaps one of the reason that you can take a person from stage A to higher stage B. Perhaps that is the specialty that you have, which very few people have. Well, I would like to know something more that while asking the question, advising your clients, guiding them, can you please tell us that main one advice that you give to the leaders, especially those who feel stuck or burn out, please?
Yes. So with burnout, this one's really interesting because burnout is an indicator that you're spending your time doing things that don't energize you.
Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
and not everything is going to energize you. So if I have a leader who is burnt out, I first like to take a look at what's on their plate. And I like to take stock of what truly are things that inspire them, what are the things that give them energy? Because there's going to be things on those lists where even if it's 10 p.m. at night and they get a call, they're still up for doing it. Those are things that I would love for them to continue doing. And then there's things on that list that drain them, that take away their
Mhm.
energy. So a burnt out leader often has more of those tasks on their plate than the
True.
other ones because they haven't delegated wisely. And if they
Right.
have delegated, then they might not have delegated, but if they did delegate, then they're not overseeing the project. They're still micromanaging, they're still stuck in the weeds. So that's really, what are the standard operating procedures? What are the metrics that you're tracking to make sure that you don't have to keep going in and doing this yourself? So you don't have to keep saying saving the day. How are you structured with your employees so you're catching things beforehand? And when they come to you, they're coming to you with solutions and not just problems for you to solve. Right. So we really look at that dynamic. And then the other question is yeah, if maybe they're not a fit, sometimes they aren't a fit for the role anymore. Sometimes they might have had a change in their life. And
Right.
because of that change, they no longer want to be at the role to the same degree. I had one individual who, as an executive, had been crazy gung ho work. This was the kind of guy who was doing 18 hours a day, 16, 18 hours a day, like to work on the weekends. But as one of their kids started to get older and they started to do some really cool stuff in the world, he just wanted
Correct.
to spend more time with his family,
Hmm.
and so he was getting burnt out at work because he just wanted to shift his energy elsewhere because he had a change in life. And so, he was working a lot. So it's like, all right, well, let's finally start to delegate because now you're done and this isn't energizing you anymore.
Very good.
So
Right.
he started to delegate wisely to get it off his plate. But at one time, it really energized him to work that much. So it's also remembering, you are who you are today, but tomorrow that can change. And so paying attention to your energy levels and the burnout is really important so you can uncover, is this a strategic thing to fix, or is something internally inside me misaligned with what I'm doing on a daily basis?
Very correct. Because all the entrepreneurs, they think that more work, more profit, more success, but it is not. It is not.
Not
And
if you
as you
don't
said,
like it.
hmm,
Yeah. Yeah. Not everyone likes it. And there is a lot of work that goes into entrepreneurship and owning a business, and that's fair. But again, if you don't like it, there's ways to delegate and structure your company so that you take on a very specific role. And that's half the fun of owning a business, is trying to figure out and scale your company so you can do just that.
right. Right, right. Yes, very correct. Well, Curly, you are the person who helps leaders decode their inner narratives and redesign their professional trajectories with purpose. So please tell us, what does this designing your trajectory truly mean?
Yeah, it means that you really want to pick and choose what you do in the world. You want to
Okay.
understand who you truly are, what's important
Wow.
to you, and
Beautiful.
then you don't just fill your life with all the good things, you fill it with
Mm,
challenging things too. So, for example, I have someone who really loves speaking and it's really inspired by speaking, right? And so we were working on their speaking career, getting him out there more. And it was cool. They got to do a TEDx talk, which is great. That was inspiring for them. But the thing
mhm.
is that's not easy. So if they fill their day just doing easy things for speaking, they're not really designing a trajectory of moving forward. They're just doing things that are easy. If you go and you say, okay, well, I want to do something really hard, and TED Talks are, challenging, but also really inspiring to do. And so it was like, okay, well, how do we get you on that? And that was something that made them uncomfortable, made them nervous. It was something new that they had never done before, and that's a challenge that they were willing to face.
Oh.
So when you think about designing your trajectory, you want to think
Mhm.
about every day, not just doing things that you enjoy, but things that you enjoy that are going to help you to grow, things that are going to challenge you to, again, we talked about it in the beginning, build the leader that you would love to be. Like, what are the things that you can participate in daily? And it's cool because, I mean, Elon Musk is a big example of this, where he's really out there in the world doing the things that he loves to do. And he's really pushing the boundaries and pushing the envelope. And That's not an easy thing to do. But he's designing his life not just to have the pleasures that he likes, but also the pains that he likes. And it's just more fun that way, because then you're overcoming things that are kind of on the path to what you love, in a sense. So the more that you do that, the more that you fill your day up with not just inspiring events, but also inspiring challenges.
Yes, very correct. As you said, well, more you do, more you love, more you believe in it, and then you more you stick to it. And perhaps that might be one of the reasons that it is said that in war, in love, and in business, everything is legal. But you are the one who always says no. Even in business, one can do the business without losing their soul. What does it mean? Can you please elaborate this?
Yeah, so a business is really a beautiful opportunity to create something in the world. It's like philanthropy. It's a philanthropic cause, in a sense, and we can reach a lot of people with a business. So a big deal for businesses is to make sure you understand the vision and the mission of the business.
Mm, right,
Just like each person has their own mission, their own vision, their own purpose, so does a business. And you want to make sure you stay focused on the core vision, mission, purpose of the business.
right.
Sony is a really cool one. Before the when it first started, its actual mission was to change how people viewed Japan. And
Mhm.
the owner wanted it to be seen as the leading technology creator in the world. Right. So that's beyond a company making money. That's something that changes an entire culture. That's inspiring. So if you show up at work every day and every employee understands that they're not just there to make money for this company, they're there because they're there to change how the world views your country,
Beautiful,
right? It's
beautiful.
amazing. So you want to make sure that it's visible within the company, whether you have it up on posters or, people put it on their desktop, however you guys want to do it, however you want to share it, that wants to be woven and embedded within the company, because that is the soul of the company. That is what you're working towards. That is the purpose and the mission of what you're doing beyond creating income. And I haven't really met a company yet where someone has like a mission of only creating income. Sometimes people think they start with creating an income, and then all of a sudden you talk to them and you realize, well, yeah, but I chose this particular business because, my mom had these health issues and I thought that this would be something that I could tackle. Right. And it's like, okay, or I saw this person here at a hospital, and I was just talking to someone today and they're like, well, I saw this person at a hospital and they really struggled with, one of their defibrillators, and it's like, okay, that's why I started this company, because I saw the void, I saw the
My
gap,
God.
right? So yes, they want to make money, but also they're seeing this gap. And when you connect with why you did the thing, what it really means to you, that is the mission. That's the thing, that's the soul of your company. And it fuels you to a greater degree, because even us as individuals, as business owners, entrepreneurs, we don't want to wake up every day. We like getting paid. Don't get me wrong. Getting paid is awesome. And everyone wants to get paid. However, it's not usually the only reason why we're doing it. Sometimes we're doing it even personally for our family, so we could provide our kids with a really inspiring life, maybe that we didn't have. Sometimes maybe we're doing it for our partners because we want to go travel the world with them. We want to see the world. You want to take care of your parents when they get older. There are going to be very specific things that you also personally want to do by having the business. So you want to check in with that too, because that makes an impact on how you show up daily as well.
Yes, very correct. Yes. Let me stop here and move my vehicle to a new direction. That is the rapid fire question session. And there I would love to get reply from you in the shortest possible way. Try to be quite short. And here is the first question for you. Curly, can you please tell us one book that has changed your perspective? Which one?
The Values Factor by John DeMartini. It's one of my
Ah,
favorites.
yes, yes,
I love
yes,
it
yes.
so much. I'm now one of his facilitators, and I've got his values determination on my
Lovely.
website. So go check it
Nice.
out. It's amazing. Hmm.
And from the appearance, you look so slim and trim. Please tell me, what is the morning ritual that sets you energetic and ready for the success?
I ask myself what I love to do, and most of the time,
Oh.
transparently,
Mhm.
I definitely exercise in the morning and I get that out of the way, but before I
Great.
exercise, I actually love getting on my emails and I love
Mhm.
working. That is not for everyone, but that is definitely for me, and that fills my soul.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Can you please tell me a one quote do you remember that you live by?
Yeah, take no credit, take no blame, just keep focused on your chief aim,
Wow. Will
and
you
that
please repeat
means
again? Lovely, lovely. Take no credit, take no blame.
just keep focused on your chief aim.
Beautiful. Why? Beautiful. Well, one thing the leader should stop doing today.
Comparing themselves to others and trying to be someone they are not.
Yes, trying to be someone they are not. Very correct. I remember if you tell elephant to climb the tree, it's not possible. Well,
Yes.
your favorite question that you ask the new client, what is that?
Yes, I love to ask them what their values are. I love to go through that questionnaire, the DeMartini values, because I just want to know what fuels them on a day-to-day basis, and that changes the trajectory of how I work with them.
Yes, very correct, very correct. Beautiful. And what's more powerful, strategy or self awareness?
That's a tough question. I would say it depends on the situation, but I think sometimes strategy is going to be more powerful based on external things that need to be fixed. Strategy is incredibly important, but sometimes self-awareness is going to kick strategies butt if we use strategy and nothing changes because we've got ourselves to work on.
Very correct. Yes. Perfect. Certainly one mistake that you are grateful for. What is that?
Yeah, I make mistakes every day. I am really grateful. Which one would be one big one that I've made? I've made so many mistakes. I've made a lot of mistakes in business, and I'm really grateful for those mistakes because the mistakes that I've made in business that have pushed me back what I
Correct.
thought in the wrong direction turned out to
Mm.
be the right direction. And so it really works out well again when I just ask myself, how did this serve me? This challenge, the benefits, why was it important for me to make this mistake?
Perfect. Well, Sally, I have got heap of questions to be asked, but time did not permit me. Let me tell you that, Curly, a heap of thanks to you for sharing your wisdom, your stories, and your heart. Today's conversation literally reminded us that the true leadership begins within, and that's the rewriting our inner narratives, and that only can reshape our outer world. And to everyone who are listening, your flaws aren't the failures, they are the fuel. Start redesigning your trajectory with intention and watch your life, and that will definitely transform in not only with a success but with pleasure. And here is the live example, who is none other than Sir Curly. Curly, so nice of you. On behalf of this platform, yes, I would love to tell you something more. But before I say, will you please tell us a one advice that all the budding entrepreneurs must apply? What is that?
Yeah, most people just give up. So
Mhm,
just if it's really important to you, just stick with it. There's a lot
mhm,
of individuals even that I know who were in coaching that just gave
mhm,
up, and they asked me how I did it, and the
mhm.
commonality that I see is people stop trying, and they stop figuring out solutions, and they stop pushing themselves to move forward. So if it's really important to you, don't give up, figure it out.
Don't give up and
You can do
figure
it.
out.
Yeah.
Yes, don't give up and figure out. Yes. Well, on behalf of this platform, I sincerely pray the Almighty God to give you all the strength, all the wisdom, all the power, all money, all time. and everything, so that the work that you are doing, may God help you to continue, because you are really doing wonderful. And the way you are coming out with your expertise and knowledge, that really helps the not only the particular entrepreneur in business, but in his life, in his family, in his world, everywhere. So once again, a big thank you to you, and we say namaste, namaste to you. May God bless you, and I request you to be on my platform once again when we call you back. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly. It was
Yeah.
Together we are global speakers talk.